Yeah, I talked with Dr. Thomas Felk at FGCU tonight, who said that this ruling might create some barriers for those wanting a legal abortion, especially if an outright abortion ban happens here in Florida.
I think we knew that it was something coming, but I think it's still something that's very shocking for a lot of people, maybe something that a lot of people didn't think they may see in their lifetimes.
Dr. Thomas Felk is an associate professor of social work at FGCU, summarizing how some felt coming off Friday's Supreme Court ruling on Roe v. Wade, putting what it means in layman's terms.
Basically what this does is return the concept of abortion and the practice of abortion rights back to states.
Offering this prediction for people who want to get an abortion.
What you're going to have now, unfortunately, is individuals who are going to have to try and travel if they want to seek out abortion services.
Abortion services that could be heavily restricted or even banned in some states due to trigger laws put in place in case the High Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Florida doesn't have any trigger laws, but House Bill 5 bans most abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy. Governor DeSantis signed it in April, and it will go into effect on July 1st. Felk said the means to travel outside of a state won't be feasible for those who can't afford it, saying that people who are minorities could be particularly vulnerable.
The individuals who are going to be able to continue to access abortion are going to be those who can afford it and have the opportunity to travel. For those that can't, we're probably looking at a return to back alley abortions or some other means by which they're going to try and terminate a pregnancy that is an unwanted pregnancy.
Governor DeSantis tweeting a reaction to the SCOTUS ruling on Friday, stating Florida will continue to defend its recent laws, as well as work to expand pro-life restrictions.
And I would expect that there's probably going to be a greater push now that Roe has been overturned, that there may be a push to just outright ban abortion in the state of Florida.
And in the coming days and weeks, with reports of D.C. police getting fully activated, Dr. Felk offering this prediction.
I think there will probably be a lot of chest thumping on one side. I think there's going to be a lot of sadness and anger on the other side. And I think whenever you put those two things together, it tends to be a volatile situation.
Now, Dr. Felk also added that he thinks this ruling could serve as a rallying cry for both Republicans and Democrats ahead of November's midterm elections. In the newsroom, Keenan Scott, Fox 4.